Good morning, all of you. Am I audible? Good morning. Good morning. Okay, so we were discussing about the different type of the device modeling techniques which has been used in the embedded system design. So one of them is the PettiNet. Okay, so the PettiNet basically consists of the 5 tuples or 5 components. One is uh, the the points or that positions for the state from which it has to transmit from the one state to the another, and the triggering point or the transition point which is required to be used, input and output, and the number of the tokens which has been available or been used for this. So as you can see over here in this state transition diagram, so using this color PettiNet, where the different type of the positions are there which are required to be, or they are of the transit in the state pertaining to that the conditions, so that whether the token is available or not. If the token is available, so in that case it can move in a directional part, that it can move from the one position to the another position. So as you can see over here, that the P1 is having the one token, and if that the transition state gets triggered one, so in that case this token would move to the P5. Okay, so and similarly there are the various type of the conditions available here, that you can see that the uh, uh, input state for the T1 is the P1, which consists of the single tokens. Input state to the T2 is having the P2, P3, and P5. So these are all those inputs. Okay, and input for the T3 is P3. Okay, so as you can see over here, that this P3 is only having that directional arrow which points to that triggering. Pertaining to this, that having the token available with the P3, having the token available with the P3, you can move to the P4. Okay, and P4 and P4 is having a input from the P4, but currently P4 is not having any token. So even though if the T1 T4 gets triggered, or this enabling is been done, in that case the transition from the P4 to the P2 will not take place, because the P4 is having the 0 token. Okay, so the output of this is for the T1 is a P5. Okay, so let me try to. Is this visible? The PettiNet is visible? Rahul? Okay, so are you getting what I am stating? Okay, so here in this case, the number of the token that again varies and allows you to make this triggering and transition from the one state to the another state. So usually the number of the token, as you can see here, for the P1 it is 1, P2 it is 1, P3 there are the 2 number of the tokens over there, and P4 is nothing, and P5 is having the 1. Now what would happen if it's state transition or the triggering at all these different transition points, the triggering does takes place. So in that case, what would be the position of this token after completions of this transition from the one state to the another? So this would be that homework exercise for you, that having this type of the scenario, the next state transition, what would be the state of the token in the different positions after taking the transition simultaneously at these different transition points. Okay, so that token would be moved from the one position to the another, or making some functions over there, and that would allow this operations to be complete only in case when the token is available, and there would not be any operations that would take place if the token is not available. So that implies that if the data is available at that point, or if there is a dependency in the program, in that case, whether that data is available, only in that case you would be able to make that operation, otherwise you would not be able to do that. So quite similar to that is over here, that the PetINet that PetINet points are there, which are mentioned as a P1, P2, P3, P4, and P5, and the 4 different type of the transition states pertaining to that. It allows the multiple type of the operations and allow to switch from the one position to the another position, okay, or another PetINet point to the another point. Okay, so different type of the terminologies you can define in order to express this. And here you can see that such type of the modeling is very much useful. So when we try to explain that what type of that functionality or the control operations that would take place if the transition is required to be made, so whether that condition does arise, or if it is not been there, in that case you will not be allowed to switch to the other positions. And sometimes the critical situations like here may arise that the data is desirable but is not available. So in that case, even though that triggering is done, but the system is not able to do that operation because of that data, or that input is not available, so to perform that operation. Okay, so here is that situation that if the P4 is unable to make a transition from the P2 because the token is not available. So there are the various type of the stages that can be expressed in the PetINet. One is this, the sequence type of the operations, the branch type of the operations, so that if the certain token operates, in that case it has to move to the another positions where that decision has to be taken place. This one is a synchronization, where the 2 different type of the operations that can take place, and they may perform that operations after triggering that. Okay, now sometimes the resource contentions may arise, and you require to decide that to whom that triggering or that operation need to be performed. So in that case, here in this case, the transition, if the T1 does takes place, so in that case the transition would be allowed to take place, because the T1 and T2 both are simultaneously require the same single tokens, and pertaining to this, at least in order to perform this T1 or T2 operations, the 2 number of the token is required, or 2 number of the tokens are required. So in that case, who would get that tokens if those 2 T1 and T2 are simultaneously triggered? So in that case, anyone, it is a choice of this randomized operation, so where that system has to decide that to whom it should give, or we may assign certain type of the priority having those type of the constraints required to perform. So in that case, to whom that triggering should be enabled and that should be given. Now, various type of the operations are there, so where the concurrency is there. So in that case, only this allows that the operations would take place concurrently without taking that triggering operations, because that triggering has already been applied, and you would be having that tokens, and that would be able to, the system would able to do perform that operation parallelly. So this is one example of this, explaining that how this would take place. In this case, in the concurrency, as you can see over here, that the token is available, and this is a directional token. So in that case, once that operations that does take place, that would also again allow this triggerings to get enabled, and this would make the another transition which can be operated in concurrency. Okay, so there are the various type of the challenges are there pertaining to this, that it requires a comprehensible information and the complexity of the operations which is required to be depicted in the form of this PetINet. So your objective is this, that you requires to download the PetINet from the net. It is an open source software available, and the simulate this operation of the elevator controller. Okay, so how does this triggering would take place, and how does this the transition from the one state to another state depending on the availability of that position, so that would you require to make. So this is a homework exercise. In the next month, next Monday, you will have to submit this before next Monday. On or before next Monday, you will have to submit this homework exercise task. Okay. Now, another is state-oriented hierarchical concurrent FSM diagram. As here you can see that in this concurrency can be explained easily. Concurrency can be explained easily by depicting the various type of the states and the transition from the one state to the another state. And as you can see over here, that there is a one function y which is having the two different subfunctions. One is the A and D, and the transition first takes place. Both of this transition does takes place, and the B will enable depending on that input available from the user side, and the transition would take place pertaining to that whatever that input that has been available and the constraint that has been performed at the level B, and that would allow this transition to the C. And after completion of this C, it has to return to the B by giving that or the returning the value of this B. So similarly to this, the concurrent function D is also been executed, where the E would give that result R, and based on that value, the G will have to perform certain operations and do that switching from the G to F based on that value S and A, and if certain conditions permits, which allows that triggerings to make that function F to complete its operations and return back to the A. So this is the something like that loop operation which does take place, and there are the various type of the switching based on those different type of the inputs which has been available, and using those constraints, the transition is taking place from the one state to the another state. And you can see over here that depending on that certain conditions or the input, which if that gets triggered on, only in that case you would have to switch to the another state, or to that F to E. So concurrency is not only modeling the control aspect, but this also allows you to express that what type of the data based on that the activity is required to be performed in the system. So this is a good criteria of designing or using this hierarchical concurrent finite state machine diagrams, where the various type of the triggerings that does take place, or the input transition does take place based on that input available, and you can depict or easily see that based on this input that operation is to be performed, and the output of the transition from the one state to the another that would take place based on that data which has been provided or that has been computed by that function. So एक सेकंड, मेरी बिल्ली ने कुछ गिरा दिया है, just hold on. Is it clear? If anyone is having any doubt, please ask. मैं कुछ पूछ रहा हूं, अगर ये पेट्रीनेट ये जो हिरार्चिकल एफएसएम डायग्राम के बारे में अगर समझ में नहीं आया हो तो दोबारा से पूछ ले। मोहित, पूर्वा, okay, so Anurag is asking to repeat this. Okay, so as you can see, this is a modified state oriented diagram. So where there is a one program, let us say y, which is having certain functions which can be executed concurrently. Okay, now here both of these are independent with each other. There is no dependency with the A and D. Okay, and there are the different type of the operations which need to be performed by this. So A would be enabled by just triggering of this certain values and would start its function from the B and would produce a certain outputs, and based on that conditions of that provided a variable A with a certain input or the probability function or whatever that you may see, that this function A with the value P divided by C, if it is been there, only in that case you would do transit from the state B to C. And after completion of this C, it has to return certain values B to the function, or the it will go or to the state B. Okay, and return that value B. Similar to this D, it is having the initialization from that state F with the certain input and would start moving or giving that input to two input or two outputs. So one is the U and one is the A. So based on that U and A, that another state would get enabled. So here is again this E and G would be triggered only, or that transition would take place only that function returns either the value of U or A. Okay, and these state E and G, they would transit from its state to the another state. So as you can see over here, this E would only transit from the E to G, and it would return that value R. Okay, am I right? It is clearly written over here. Okay,
Sir,
okay, and
hello.
the G would return this value as to the function F, or it will transit to the state F if the output S is generated by the state G. So it is something like that. There are the certain triggering inputs which is required to be allowed, and the state would start, or the system would start from that very state and would transit to the another state depending on that values available, and the state would change its state based on that values or the conditions which has been applied. So here these are the different type of the values which has been assigned over here. Based on that, the transition from the one state to the another state would take place, and that can be easily depicted. But here it is, you can see that this is an infinite type of the loop. There is no as such exit. So you can see that it is something like a kernel type of the program of the operating system which works in the infinite loop, and depending on that is different type of the inputs available, the state would change from the one to the another, and there would be the certain type of the inputs which allow that state to enable and perform its operations and give certain output and state. So this is done, or that has been explained over here for the different A and D, different type of the sub functions or the sub module of the function Y. Is it clear? Shashikant? Okay. Now here is this activity-oriented data flow graph. So now in a data flow graph, you can see that there are the various type of the states, and and you can see that the transition from the input and output, or इसमें जो है आपका different of the activities you can visualize. Now here that there could be the different type of the activities, and what type of the activities that can be there. You can easily depict that using this activate in the data or data flow diagram. Okay, so here in this case that the input is provided to enable the activity A, which will perform certain operations and use that information to store into the file, or seek certain information from the file system based on that input available, and using those values of y and v1 dash file information which has been accessed from the file systems, that would allow that activity A2 to operate the different type of the operations. So here you can see that activity 2 is also having the different type of the sub functions or the sub activities that need to be performed based on these inputs available. So here that inputs are y1 and v1, y and v dash. So y1, based on that value of the y1, the A21 activity would take place, whereas the V dash activity would allow the other subfunction part which need to be enabled after the completion of this activity 2.1. Okay, so once that operation get completed, that implies that there is a dependency of the activity 2.3 uh, with the activity 2.1, and the constraints are that the value of this y need to be provided prior to that activity 2.3 to enable that activity A21, and based on that values which has been available with the A21, the activity of this A23 based on that external data which has been available in terms of the file, you access those data from that very files and use that in order to perform certain type of the operations at this activity level A2. And after this, this activity A2, it will produce certain output which can be stored into the output device, and it may allow that other operations like to and that would again be given to you as an output. So you can say that certain type of the output which you are taking on the screen, or certain type of the output you are taking on the printer, and that can be easily explained in terms of the here that the value z is to be depicted and the value y has to be printed, which may be in a different type of the form in the printer. Okay, so those type of the activities you can see over here. Another type of this operational level data flow graph is depicted over here, that based on this input to y and x, we require to first perform that addition operations, and once that gets completed, in that case the data z, if it is been available, in that case it has to perform the multiplication operation and produce the value w. So all these and you can see over here that there are the certain type of the operations which are independent, certain type of the operations which are dependent, and the position of that also depicts that the input must be available so prior to performing the or switching to the another state, or to enable another type of that activity in this data flow graph. So having such type of the constraint available, so we can easily visualize that while making such type of the transition from based on that input x values, and the activity A would be enabled, and it would have to produce a certain data output which would allow that activity to be enabled, and it has to take a certain values from the file to complete a certain type of the task. So here you can say that this y is certain value, and v is nothing but an x, v dash is nothing but an x value, and a2 is performing addition operation, and this value y is already available, so, and the a2 would perform that operation and make a certain type of this multiplication. Let us say this uh, operational level task. So the Z, if it has been available, in that case, the A2 would also perform the Z operations and perform that output. So such type of that activities can be easily depicted using this data flow graph. So you have gone through this in the software engineering. Have you studied this software engineering subject, Anurag? ओके, सो ER डायग्राम और ये डेटा फ्लो ग्राफ, ये इसमें डायग्राम, ये सारी चीजें आपको इजीली इसमें समझ में आ जाती है. तो देयर इज, बिकॉज कंप्यूटर इंजीनियरिंग में इट इज ए सेल्फ एक्सप्लेनेटरी, and you can easily understand that what type of the operations that would be performed using such type of that data flow graph, and it is a self explanatory, depictable, and provides all those, because if it has been asked that what type of that features or the merits or demerits of this data flow graph, so it supports the hierarchy suitable for specifying the complex transformation system representing the problem inherent data dependencies. So again, this data dependency statement is appearing in this data flow graph, because unless the data is not been available, so you cannot perform that activity, and the transition from the one state to the another state would not take place. So in this activity type of the diagram, so if you have gone through this embedded system in the DBMS system or in the software engineering part, all those values pertaining to that operations need to be performed. You requires to make a transition from the one state to the another state or perform certain type of activities. The operation of that can be easily depicted using this data flow graph. But what is happening inside that activity, this is a level 2 type of that data flow graph, so which you have gone through, which depicts that the different type of the operations that can be depicted. Okay, so this is a you are already aware about this type of the activities, but the limitation of this is that it expresses the temporal, behavioral, or control sequence, or does not depict in the detail that what type of that operation that is being performed by the system at this level, because it is a broad type of that representation of the functions or the behavior of the system which is to be performed by it, and you can only visualize that in a broad spectrum, so that such type of the operation would be performed by this particular system which are modeling using this data flow graph. So apparently such type of the things is does also requires, in order to explain that, having a certain type of the system, what type of the inputs are there, what type of the activity it need to perform, and where it has to go, or what type of that output it would produce. And in that, all those intermediate states or the activities, you can explain that either using this ER diagram or any other type of that modeling technique. Okay, another is this the control flow graph, where the different type of the operations, it is quite similar to that flow chart. Okay, so all these input, various different type of the stages are there, and the type of that operations that need to be performed. So depending on that condition, whether that matches or not, you require to make the transition from the one to the another based on this. So we all know about this the flow chart, which is also referred to as a control flow graph. Okay, so another type of this is a structure oriented diagrams, where a broad spectrum, all this computer architecture or that uh, computer organization part that you have gone through. So in that case, we use this block diagram of any type of the system, and the internal part of that how many number of the buses are there, the number of the wires, the control units, and the different type of the register and components, and their data path that can be represented using this netlist. And the gate level netlist implies that the, because as you can see here, एक जो है वो बहुत उसमें ब्रॉड वे में दिखाया गया है कि कंप्यूटर प्रोग्राम मेमोरी या प्रोग्राम मेमोरी में कौन सी मेमोरी यूज कर रहा हूँ मैं, क्या वो डी रैम यूज कर रहा हूँ, क्या मैं वो ईडो रैम यूज कर रहा हूँ, मैं एस रैम यूज कर रहा हूँ, मैं DDR यूज कर रहा हूँ, DDR 1 2 3 4 5 डिफरेंट टाइप ऑफ वेरिएशंस आर देयर, मैं क्या मैं उसमें एस रैम यूज कर रहा हूँ, स्टैटिक रैम, ओके। सो क्या वो मैं रोम यूज कर रहा हूँ, तो रोम में भी कौन सी है, वो प्रोग्रामेबल रीड ओनली मेमोरी है, इलेक्ट्रिकल इरेसेबल प्रोग्रामेबल मेमोरी है ना, और इरेसेबल प्रोग्रामेबल रीड ओनली मेमोरी है. So there are the volatile and non-volatile different type of the memories are there. It could also be of the secondary storage type, like that the floating gate type of that technology, or the gate which has been used in the pen drive to store that large amount of the data. So nowadays, this FinFET type of the technology has been used in order to increase that amount of that data which can be stored into the device. And this is your homework exercise to know about that. How does this the gate, the floating gate, is used in the pen drive? Okay. उसका डायग्राम कैसे होता है ये आपको खुद को बनाना है. अलग अलग इसके अंदर वेरिएशंस 2-3 इसमें आ गए हैं. तो नॉर्मल सिनारियो में हम नैंड गेट को यूज करते हैं, बट और गेट को हम फॉर द लॉन्ग पीरियड के लिए स्टोरेज के लिए और लॉन्ग फाइल की स्टोरेज करने के लिए हम और गेट टेक्नोलॉजी का यूज करते हैं. तो ये जो पेन ड्राइव है इसके अंदर फ्लोटिंग गेट यूज में आता है. ये फ्लोटिंग गेट दो तरीके का होता है, एक नैंड टेक्नोलॉजी और नॉर गेट टेक्नोलॉजी का. तो जो नॉर गेट टेक्नोलॉजी है वो इमेज स्टोरेज के लिए, जैसे आप DSLR कैमरा ले रहे हो उसकी मेमोरी के लिए यूज में लिया जाता है. और इसमें दोनों में फर्क ये है कि स्टोरिंग का टाइम लगभग दोनों का सेम है, बट इरेसिंग का टाइम और नॉर गेट वाले में कम रहता है, जबकि ये नैंड गेट वाले में ये फास्ट होता है. That is why we prefer to use this NAND gate, because we are frequently changing those type of the data. But for the longer period of the times when the image is required to be stored and that need not require to be altered, in that case that NOR gate type of the technology is preferable, and that does also take the large cost. And you can see that why this type of the devices are very much costly. Okay, so as you can see, this netlist, because you can see that here these block diagrams can be represented using the behavioral description of the system, where the netlist would, or the RTL type of that description, which will depict that what type of the operations that need to be performed, and the physical implementations if it has been required to be performed. So in that case, we will have to go through that which type of the gate we want to use. Here in this case, this is a NOR gate type of that diagrams. Okay, NOR gate type of the diagrams which can be performed by the system. Okay, another is this ER diagram. Okay, so most of you are very much aware about this ER diagram, so that how does this ER diagram perform. Okay, so I just skip this ER diagram. Now come to this Jackson diagram. Now This Jackson diagram is very important so to depict that the broad spectrums and the different type of the sublayers of that system which are independent and can perform the different types of operations. As you can see over here that एक drawing एक पूरा एक domain है, उस domain में मेरे पास में कलर भी हैं, शेप भी हैं और यूजर्स भी हैं. कलर कौन से हो सकते हैं, तो वो अलग अलग डिफरेंट टाइप के कलर्स इसमें हो सकते हैं और वो एक प्राइमरी कलर भी हो सकते हैं और वो एक secondary color भी हो सकते हैं which are made using the different type of the color combinations. Problems may arise to the people who are color blind. मेरे पिताजी कलर ब्लाइंड थे तो उनको ये इस तरीके की दिक्कत आती थी कि वो जो है उनको समझ में नहीं आता था कि ये कौन सा कलर है. और एक दिन क्या हुआ, आई जस्ट गिव दैट एग्जांपल कि he took me to one क्लोथ शॉप. मेरे को कपड़े दिलाने के लिए ले गए और उन्होंने वहां पे कपड़ा चूज करा और मेरे से कहा देखो कितना अच्छा कपड़ा लग रहा है. मैंने कहा कि हाँ ठीक है, बहुत अच्छा है. तो उन्होंने कहा ले लो. अब वो कपड़ा जो है वो एक खाकी ड्रेस थी. बट अब वो उनके सामने में बोल भी नहीं सका कि ये खाकी है, मेरे को नहीं चाहिए होगा. बट sometimes it happens that the persons may be color blind and may give that wrong advice which is not suitable and based on that. और ये एक बहुत important factor है for the doctor बनने के लिए कि अगर आप कलर ब्लाइंड हो तो उस केस में the participations और ये जो भी आपका जो लेबोरेटरी का जो टेस्टिंग होती है उसमें आप गलत अंदाजा लगा सकते हो. तो उस केस में अब तो इन्होंने अलाउ कर दिया कलर ब्लाइंड पर्सन को, अदरवाइज कलर ब्लाइंड पर्सन शुड नॉट बी अलाउड टू बिकम ए डॉक्टर. तो ये एक बड़ा चैलेंज है जिसमें आता है. So anyway, coming to back to this Jackson diagrams, here you can see that drawing requires color, shape, and the user, the person who would have to perform using or make the different types of shapes using the colors. So it has to take the colors and the type of the shapes and which type of the shape it has to make. You can also decide that whether that is a circular or rectangular. If it is circular, in that case, what type of the radius that would be. If it is a rectangular, in that case, what should be the height and the width of that particular rectangular. So depending on this, the certain type of that operations you can define using this Jackson diagram. So one is this example of this drawing of the image or any type of that shape using the drawing and pencils. Other similar type of that activity like the driving of the car that can also be depicted. So this is another homework exercise for you that you require to make a Jackson diagram for depicting that driving, okay, or the car driving, okay. So I just stop over here. It's already 11:45. Some of you may have another class. Okay. So if you have any problem in that case, you may ask me. Rahul, Dharmender, Mohit, Amarnath Sahu. Okay, so as you can see that it is a very easy to understand self-depictable type of that modeling techniques which are required. Okay, so other part of that modeling techniques we shall discuss in the next class. Okay, so thank you for bearing with me. Okay, bye.